Hank, thank you so much, my friend. How is everyone this evening? So good to see all of you. I see a lot of very familiar faces. A lot of you have become friends over the years. I actually see that some of you are on today's leadership call, and we covered a lot of ground today. And I was very encouraged to get asked to be on this call here this Wednesday night, just to be in front of you and to share with you what I think it will give you some nuggets of information to help you to take your businesses and your lives to the next level. Um, I'm excited about being on this call because I know what this organization represents. I know what the organization represents because I really do know the leadership very, very well. I know all of these people intimately. I've seen them in action. I know what their work ethic is, and more importantly, I know what their character is. Because to me, character far surpasses anything that you could ever do. Because you can have all the success in the world, but if you don't know what to do with it when you have it, it can turn out to be quite a disaster for you and your entire family. And so I have a deep respect for the leadership team that are represented on this call. And I want to tell you, first of all, that you have wonderful people that you are following in the ACN system. And so that's the first thing that you can just put to bed. You can take that question off the table. You have wonderful people that you're following that you can trust. They want the best for you and your family. They have your best interest at heart. And that's the reason why we're having this call tonight. And one of the first things I want to tell you is this. There's two ways to create disaster for your life. And I would encourage you to take notes because I'm going to talk about three specific nuggets. But first of all, I want to tell you about there's two ways not to do well in this life. The first thing is to take everybody's advice. How many of you know that would not be healthy for you? To take everyone's advice. That would be the first way to create a disaster for yourself. The second way is to take nobody's advice because there are some people in your life that come along every now and then, me being one of them, your leadership being another, that really do want the best for you. And so if you know that you are on a Zoom call or on a business call, whatever the case may be, with people that truly want the best for you, would it be in your best interest to listen? Would it be in your best interest to take notes? And would it be in your best interest to implement the things that are going to be said tonight? Because we're all on the same team. I want the same thing that you want. You want the same thing that I want. We want you to build a big business. We want you to build a big team. We want that team of people to go out and acquire customers to generate revenue that generates residual income for yourself and for your family. That is the system of ACN. It's a very, very simple system. And so I'm here to tell you that I have your best interest at heart. I want the best for you. I want you to win big time at ACN. I want you to have something spectacular happen for you and your family because of the price that you are going to be willing to pay now and in the future to do something great for yourselves and for your family. So here's the first thing that I want to tell you. I have three simple points, just three. But these three are very, very important for you to take your business and your lives to the next level. Before I give you the first point, I want to ask you a question. If I gave you $1 million check tonight, in written in your name for you to use for Christmas or whatever you want to use, how many of you on this Zoom call would be extremely excited if I did that for you? Would you be excited if I gave you 1 million? How excited would you be? I'd be excited too if somebody gave me $1 million. Let me ask you another question. Would you be a little bit more excited if I gave you $10 million? How excited would you be if I gave you 10? Yeah, absolutely. I know what the answers are. But here's the caveat. Let me ask you a third question. What if I gave you $10 million with the caveat that said that you can't not wake up tomorrow morning? How many of you, by a show of hands, would not take the $10 million? I wouldn't take it either. And let me tell you what that tells you. That $10 million is worth much less than just waking up in the morning. That was a revelation to me when that was presented to Greg Provenzano over 30 years ago. That was a revelation to me that just waking up in the morning is a gift. And many people this morning did not have that opportunity to wake up. We happen to be on the right list on December the 3rd. Now, I pray that we're on the right list on December the 4th. But the reason why I tell you that is that the very first point that I want to give you is that you must be grateful for the life that you lead up to this point. You must be grateful for being able to wake up in the morning. And that has been the difference for me for the last 30 years. That I wake up with an attitude of gratitude every single day. Now, does that mean that every single day was a positive day? No. Was I grateful for everything that happened? No. But my attitude just for waking up during that day with the expectancy that something good was going to happen changed the direction of my life. What I just covered with you just now is so powerful that I want to expand upon it. And it's important for you to adopt this mindset, because if you have any other mindset than being grateful, I'm telling you, you are going to go into an opposite direction that you want to go. And just recently, I recall doing a leadership session. And I forget what city we were in, but I talked about celebrating the middle. And what did I mean by celebrating the middle? Here's what I mean. We are so good at celebrating the beginning of something. We celebrate a birth. We celebrate a wedding. We celebrate the beginning of a relationship, right? Those are things to celebrate. We also are very good as a people group to celebrate the end of something. We celebrate somebody graduating. We celebrate an anniversary. We celebrate we celebrate a life. Maybe when somebody passed away, we celebrate their life. So we're good at celebrating the beginning and we celebrate the end. What we're not so good at is to celebrate the middle. Now, if I ask the question, I already know this answer. How many of you wish that you were further along in your ACN career right now than you are? I already know that answer, right? I feel the same way. I wish that I was further along because I always want to get better. But how many of you are grateful that you are not where you began your ACN career? That you're much further along now than you were when you began. So no matter how far you are, because we all got growth to happen in our lives, no matter how far you are in your ACN career, I know that you want to be further, but you should celebrate tonight, December the 3rd, 2025. Celebrate how far you've come. You should give yourself a round of applause for how far you've come, for the price that you've already paid. Now, I know we got much further to go, but how many of you are grateful for the fact that you're not where you used to be? That you're much further along today than you were when you began your ACN career? Yes. So the first thing I want you to do is to celebrate. I want you to say thank you for how far you've come. Celebrate yourself. Feel good about where you're at. I know that you want to be bigger. I know that you want to be better. I know that you want to grow. I know that you want to have more leaders. I know that you want to have more residual income. I understand all those things. But none of those things will happen with a poor attitude of where you're at today. So the first thing that I want you to adopt is an attitude of gratitude. You must be grateful. The second thing that I want to tell you is that in order for you to get to be where you want to be, that you must have, listen closely, you must have 100% commitment to what you're doing and the direction that you want to take your life. Now, how many of you have heard that statement before? Yeah, I've heard it before. I've heard it many times. But the question is, how many of you truly feel that you have 100% belief in the ACN opportunity and 100% commitment to it? That's a good question. So let me ask all of you a question. First of all, is it okay, Kang, is it okay if I'm a little tough on everybody tonight?
Yeah, we already told people this is a tough call. This is a leadership
Because
call.
I really do want to make a difference tonight. I really want people to grasp where they're at and what it takes to win. So if I asked each of you, how many of you believe that you believe 100% in the ACN opportunity? Let me see a show of hands. I see all of you on the screen already. So most of you, if not all of you, have raised your hand that you believe 100% in the ACN opportunity. But let me ask you a question. How many of you still have people that I'll say that are on your chicken list that you haven't spoke to about ACN as yet, and yet you still think that you believe 100%? Yeah. How many of you realize that if you believed in something 100%, that you would have no reservations about talking to everybody about what you believe 100% in? Does that make sense to all of you? So the very fact, listen, this is really important. The very fact that you haven't talked to everyone that you know about ACN tells you that you really don't believe 100% in the opportunity or what you're doing. That's a fact. And I want you to write this down. This is really important. With 100% belief, I can expect to have great success. Now, if that statement is true, then the opposite of that statement is true. What's the opposite of that statement? Without 100% belief, I should not expect great success. Does that make sense to you? So, how do you know that you have 100% belief and commitment to what you're doing? The only way to tell is if you have no reservations about talking to everybody about what you have 100% belief in. That's the only way to tell. And so, how do you close that gap? Because I said if you have 100%, then you will have great success. If you don't, then you won't. Because I have a favorite statement that says 99% belief or commitment is just like having zero. It's the same, it's one and the same. You can't have 99% belief in anything and have it work. You try and be 99% married and see how that works. It ain't going to work. You got to be all in. The same thing with your AC and career. You got to be all in. So the only way to tell, the only way to prove to yourself that you have 100% commitment and belief is that you talk to everybody that you know. That's the only way. And so that's a telltale sign for all of you. In fact, here's what I would do if I were you. Because if what I just told you is the absolute truth, and I believe it to be true, I would not allow the month of December to go by without you as an ACN leader checking off everybody in your contact list and making sure that they're at least knowledgeable about what's available with the ACN opportunity. Because some of them don't know yet. But before the end of this month, you should make a commitment to make sure that everybody knows. Is that fair? So you must cross that threshold of 99% belief and commitment to 100. You must cross that threshold. Now, the only way to cross that threshold, as I said before, is to talk to as many people as possible. Talk to everybody on your list. But before you talk to everybody on your list, there's some important decisions that you must make. And here's the reason why. I found out when I was like 23 years old, I heard this from John Maxwell. John Maxwell's statements, some of them have literally shaped my life. But here's what he said when I was 23. Some of the most successful people that he knows, all that they've done is they made important decisions early on in life. And then for the rest of their lives, managed those important decisions that they've made. Interesting. The most successful people that he knows made important decisions in their life, the non-negotiables, and then managed those non-negotiable decisions for the rest of their lives. And here's what he said. He said, your decisions shape your destiny. Your decisions shape your destiny. And here's what he also said, is you cannot manage a decision that you have not made. So as of today, as of December the 3rd, 2025, what important decisions are you going to make regarding your ACN career? Let me help you. What is the minimum amount of time that you're going to commit to spending to building your ACN business every single day? That's a decision you have to make. What are you willing to sacrifice in order to build your ACN business to give you the lifestyle that you want to achieve? That's a question. That's a decision that you have to make. What's the minimum amount of production that you're going to accept from yourself on a weekly and monthly basis? That's a question and a decision that you have to ask. What is the date that you set for your next promotion? That would be a good decision to make early on. Here's also another good one. What is the minimum income level that you want to have starting in January of 2026? And what are you going to put in motion to have that happen? Those are all decisions that you need to make. And if you make those decisions early enough, what you do is spend the rest of your ACN career managing those decisions. That's it. That's it. See, folks, perseverance is the key. Despite all the challenges, despite all the odds, if you persevere over a long enough period of time, you will win. And here's the reason why. Perseverance beats talent 100% of the time when talent does not persevere. I've seen many talented people at ACN. They speak so well. They look so good. They're charismatic. They carry themselves well. They have a good following, but they don't continue to persevere. And what happens is they go up, and then it's just as much as they've gone up, they go down because they've not established a criteria of perseverance. They have not made that critical decision early on and managed that decision for the rest of their career at ACN. These things are really important, everyone. So 100% commitment is the key. 100% belief is the key. That will help you to make those decisions early on and manage those decisions, which will allow you to persevere long enough over a period of time until you win. And here's the last and final point that I think is very important for you to adopt in order to win in a big way, to do something spectacular at ACN. Here it is. You must possess a no retreat mindset. A no retreat mindset where you're never going to go back. That you're in a place that you develop a mindset where every single day you're going to make something happen no matter what the circumstances are. That you draw the line, you make a decision, you're never going to go back. Every single day is going to be a business building day at ACN. Every single day you're going to find a way to make something happen because winners find a way to win, losers find excuses. You need to get in the winner category instead of the loser category, and it will be dependent upon the decisions that you make and what you put in place every single day. From this day forward, December the 3rd, 2025, don't blame the marketplace. You can't blame your upline. You can't blame lack of time or how busy you are. Here's the reason why. That we prioritize everything that we want to get done. Everything. I'll prove it to you. Wednesday night, tonight, it's I don't know what time it is. It's like 9:30 maybe Eastern time. 7:30 Mountain time where most of you are at. But where I'm at, it's 9:30. I got on the Zoom call about 9 o'clock to start things off. Now, we all have choices for our lives, yes? We can do whatever we want. We can choose whatever we want to do. Is there anything other than being on the Zoom call that we all could be doing right now on a Wednesday night? Yeah. We have a clean slate. We can do whatever we want. Here's the question. Why are we on the Zoom call? Why am I doing this Zoom call? Why are you listening to me right now on this Zoom call? Let me tell you why you're here. Really simple. You wanted to be here. If you didn't want to be here, guess what? You would be somewhere else. Does that make sense to you? But the reason why that you're here is because you believe that there would be more value with you being here than you're being with somebody else. Does that make sense to you? Is that clear? You know what that proves to you? Here's what it proves. Is that whatever you really want to get done, you make a priority to get that done. So whatever you want to do, you make it a priority. So that means no longer can you have an excuse. No longer can you blame the marketplace. No longer can you blame your upline. No longer can you blame your lack of time. The only thing that you can blame is the person that you look at in the mirror. Here's the bottom line. Is that your success or failure at ACN is totally up to you and what you decide to do with your time every single day. So what decisions are you going to make? What decisions are you going to make with your time and the sacrifice? And what decisions are you going to make for your minimum amount of production? All the things that I've told you to ask yourself and to answer and to make a commitment to. Those are going to things that are going to make a huge difference in your lives and in your ACN career. I promise you that. Listen, today there's a lot of distractions that are around us. Wouldn't all of you agree? There's so much information. We're getting bombarded with information. There's too much. There's too much going on. And sometimes you don't know how to sift through all the information. The thing that keeps me on track is that I am totally focused to the mission that I have in building ACN. I am totally focused on the mission that I have to creating an environment for other people to win. Do you know what drives me every single day to do what I do for ACN? Is all of you. And the reason that drives me is I want to continue to create an environment for everybody to win. But the environment can't do it for you. You can be a part of an environment and still not win. You have to do it. You have to wake up, make those decisions, make a commitment, never retreat, always be in business building mode, and dream about things that are bigger than you. Operate in an environment that's bigger than you. That will motivate you every single day to get the job done. So those three things are the things that I've relied upon ever since we started ACN that have brought me and my family in this business the success that we've experienced. And I know the same thing will happen for you. Don't come to Greg Provenzano 5 years from now and tell me that ACN doesn't work. No. ACN works. You don't work. That's the reason why 5 years from now it's not working. You did not put in motion what we talked about tonight. You did not make those critical decisions. You did not prioritize your time. You did not commit to the things that you want to have done for you and your family. No. You were looking for something for nothing. Well, that doesn't happen here at ACN. There's a price to be paid. There's a sacrifice to be had. I know that the majority of you on this line, you're committed in the future to becoming senior vice presidents with this company. You're committed to doing something great for yourselves and for your families. And I want you to know we're as committed to you as you are committed to it. We're going to show you the way. We're going to pave the path. We're going to create the environment. All that you need to do is plug in, pay the price, make a sacrifice, do something every single day. Now, listen, I can talk for the next 2 hours about all these things that I know what you should do. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to what really are you going to do? You can listen, you can take notes. This can be another leadership call that you're grateful to be on, or if you're not grateful, it doesn't matter. What matters is this. What are you going to do from this night forward? Are you going to do anything different? Like when we hang up from this Zoom, are you going to commit to yourself that you're going to prove to yourself that you're 100% committed to the ACN opportunity by talking to everybody that you know? Look, I told you to to take notes and to put this statement down. With 100% belief, you can expect great results. Without 100% belief, don't expect great results. So how can you operate ACN with less than 100% belief and not expect great results? I wouldn't do it. I want to know that if I pay the price, I'm going to win. How do you do that? With 100% commitment, with 100% belief, and making sure you ask yourself the right questions. These are all principles that will work for you in a big way. I've seen it happen for tens of thousands of people already. I know that it can happen for you. I promise you that. So, Kang, I'm going to give the call back to you. I know that you said you wanted to have an opportunity to ask me some questions for the group, things that you thought would be pertinent for your organization, and I'll make myself available for as long as you need me, buddy. Thank you so much for asking me to be on this call. I hope that some of the information that I've already given would be valuable to some people that are on.
Wow, wow, wow. Who here is already fired up? Guys, imagine what just Greg told, like having 100% belief can literally change your life. Like who right now is thinking that they're going to give their 100% and they're going to close 2025 with the momentum that 2026 that Greg just talked about, that how much money literally you want to make 2026. And all that going to start is the commitment, the 100% thing that you're going to do with ACN right now. So what I'm going to be doing right now, I'm going to be asking Greg like 3 to 4 more questions, and we're going to be wrapping up a call very soon. The first question, Greg, I just want to ask you is to so that all the people on a call should know like who they're really working with, like prior to ACN, what you used to do, and why really you started ACN. What was the reason of a ACN foundation?
Oh my gosh, buddy, you're really bringing me back here. Um, I grew up in the inner city of Detroit, and I didn't have a lot of opportunity. Uh, I went to college for about a year and a half, and I didn't graduate in a year and a half. I had to leave after a year and a half because I ran out of money. And so I still don't have a college degree. If I put a resume together and tried to get a regular job, they would look at my resume and throw it in the trash can because I don't have all the requirements that most companies have established for me to be a part of them. And so I knew that I needed to do something significant in order for me to not live as an adult the way that I grew up as a child in the very, very rough part of Detroit. And I made a commitment early on. In fact, I was about 14 years old. And I said that was the commitment that I made, that I didn't know what I was going to do, but the commitment that I made, this is why I talk so heavily about drawing the line and never retreating and never go back, because I remember distinctly telling myself that I don't care what I have to do, but I'm not going to live as an adult the way that I grew up as a kid. And when opportunity came my way, all I said was, man, just give me a chance. Just show me the way. Show me how to win. Let me read a book. Let me listen to an audio tape, whatever the case may be. Let me fill my mind with good things. Let me change my thinking. Let me change the paradigm of how I grew up so that I can think bigger. And I started that process in my early 20s. And that's when I first got involved with direct selling. I was with the company for 9.5 years. And then I left that company. I started in estate planning business for about a year and a half. And in 1992, in the fall of 92, is when we got together and formulated ACN and kicked the marketing off. And we had our first meeting in January of 1993. It's unbelievable when you think about it. And so I did this business of direct selling out of necessity because I saw people doing really well that did not have a lot of experience, didn't have a college degree, but they had a burning desire to win. And here's what I can tell everybody on this line. When you combine a burning desire to win with a proven system like ACN, I'm telling you, all that it is a matter of time and a matter of hard work and effort and sacrifice until you win. That's it. When you combine those two things together, it's magical what happens. I've seen people that when they got involved in ACN, I'm telling you, they had zero confidence. They've never done anything like ACN before, but they sat in the environment for long enough and figured it out long enough, and now they're winning in a big way. Kang, you are one of those people. And I know there's a lot of leaders on this line that they can tell this, they can tell similar stories about what ACN has done for them. Why? Because the environment is so good. The environment fosters growth. And so that's why I love doing leadership calls like this, just to give people a glimpse of who we are as a company, to give people a glimpse. Because listen, to me, it's more important to know who you're in business with than knowing what the compensation plan is. Because I've seen people pay a price. I've seen people climb the ladder, but they put their ladder on the wrong building and it turned out to be a disaster. ACN is a proven commodity, everyone. We've been doing this for over 30 years. We've developed tens of thousands of leaders over the years. This isn't uh, research and development. This is proven. All that you need to do is pay a price long enough and you'll win for your family. So to answer your question, Kang, that's the reason why we formulated ACN, is because all of us needed something to work for our families, just like most of you need this to work for your family. And that's what brought us to the dance right now.
Thanks for answering that question. The second question, Greg, we have is, so for sure, like what ACN is now versus what ACN was that time in back dates, it was like we can't even think about what kind of challenges you guys faced. What kept you going instead of just saying, I think I should quit and I should do something else? What really kept you going in ACN? And the reason why I'm asking this question is like what ACN is now, there's still people think in their mind it's not easy for them. They should know like what kind of challenges you faced and why you kept going in ACN. What was the reason beside that?
Yeah, the hurdles in the early days were monumental. And you know, there's not one time that you could ever take a note of a leadership session that I did or one of the co-founders. You would never take the note that we said that ACN was easy. ACN's not easy. But let me tell you this, winning at anything is not easy. ACN or otherwise. If it's easy, it's not worth it because everybody would be doing it. And if everybody could do it without putting in effort, there's no opportunity there. the hurdles that we had. I'm not going to go into all the details because it would take too long. But I can tell you that the ACN of today is far superior than what we had when we began in 1993. We only had one service when we started, and that was long distance phone service. And it only represented about $15 a month in every household. So that means every time that we got a customer, the maximum amount of revenue that we could get per household was $15 a month. How much greater is it where you're at? I mean, I understand it, it was 40 below a little while ago in Calgary, and now it's 20 below. That's cold for me. That means you got to turn up the heat. That means your energy bills are high. Your revenue is so much higher. The ability to generate revenue, which turns into residual income, is so much greater today than when we began ACN. And yet, some of our people, as tough as it was in the early days, they had changed lives within the first 10 years of them being part of ACN. Why was that so? It was because they put in motion the 3 points that I just gave you tonight. Those 3 points that I gave you, I told some of the original people those 3 points 30 years ago. Some of them adopted those 3 points. Some of them are doing extremely well. Some of them did not adopt those 3 points. I have no idea what they're doing today. So when I do a call such as this, some of you don't know me that well, but I just don't come on a call and just take up your time just to say that you are on a call with a co-founder of ACN. No. I want there to be value. I want to create value for you. I want to give you things that are going to move the needle. I want to give you nuggets of information that I know have worked, that have stood the test of time. Today's opportunity is so much greater. In fact, you know what the problem is, Kang, honestly? Is that the majority of people on this line have no frame of reference of what was. They only can see what is. I had a good friend of mine in my 20s that moved to the United States from Iran. And he became wealthy within his first 7 years of being in the United States. And I never understood it until I asked him the question. I asked him, I said, how did you become so wealthy in this is before we even started ACN. How did you become so wealthy in 7 years when everybody that I know in Detroit was just surviving? We were suffering, man. We had mediocre mindsets. I didn't know any better. The people that are around us do the best they can with what they know. They do the best they can with the resources that they have. So I asked him, I said, how did you become so successful in 7 years? You know what he told me? He said, where I've come from versus the opportunity that I have here in the United States is unmatched. He says the reason why most people in America don't win and aren't successful is because they have no idea what they have. They have no frame of reference. And I know that there's some people on this call. You have no frame of reference of how good of an opportunity we have today. You just don't know. You think this is the way that ACN always was. That's not the case. We've been around for 30 years. We still have less than 1% market penetration in any industry in any area that we operate in. You know what that tells you? There's a pretty big opportunity left. All that you have to do is adopt the right mindset and adopt and make those decisions and make sure that you're willing to pay the price and make sure that you're going to persevere and do the things long enough until you win. So it's important for you to know what you have. You know, the old saying is you don't know how valuable something is until it's gone, right? Or when that's true with relationships as well. You know, you don't fully appreciate the people that you're with until you're not there for a little while. It's true with business too. It's true with life. And so from my perspective to you, ACN is the greatest it's ever been, but it's not the greatest it will ever be. You can be part of the ACN of the greatest that will ever be by the decisions that you make and the price that you pay today. That's a true statement.
The next question I have, Greg, for you is, as you have 32 plus year experience in ACN, then you had 10-year experience prior to ACN. Altogether, you have a 42-year experience in network marketing. Like, to
Yeah.
all the new people on our call, what's the number one tip you can give them that as a 42-year experience that they should be doing if they are new in ACN?
Yeah. Um, I spoke about it earlier, but it, it here's what the compensation plan tells you to do. It's real simple. The compensation plan indirectly says that you must talk to people. It indirectly says that. Because if you don't talk to people, the compensation, you can have the greatest compensation plan in the world, but if you never attract anybody to it, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of a document. And so you must talk to people. Now, I figured something out early on in my career, which allowed me to talk to everybody that I come in contact with. And it's a real simple concept, but most people don't get it because when you got to deal with a lot of people, as we have to deal with, how many of you realize the majority of people are negative natured people? How many of you would agree with that statement? How many of you know people that are just negative Nellies, no matter what you give them, no matter what you tell them, they're not going to believe anything that you tell them, true or not true? Yeah, it's true. And so the thing that got me over that was to learn to be able to go through a lot of people. I had to get in the right mindset in order to go through all the people that were going to tell me no, all the people that were going to lie to me, all the people that weren't going to be truthful, all the people that were going to tell me they were going to do something that they never got around to doing. Has that ever happened to any of you? Here, let me give you an example. How many of you have ever talked to someone, a grown adult, us? You've ever talked to someone and you said you're going to have a meeting at 7:30 on Tuesday night. And they say, I'll be there. And not only am I going to be there, I'm so excited about what you just showed me. I'm going to fill the whole first row with people that I know because I want them to see what you just showed me. Tuesday night, 7:30. Yep, I will be there. At 7:15, they're not there. 7:20, they're not there. 7:25, they're not there. 7:25, you go up to the speaker and you say, hey, can you just hang on a minute? I got a whole group of people that are coming. They said they're coming. They're going to I got the front row all reserved. Just hang on for a few minutes. If they may be running a little bit late, but they don't show up. Now, for me, when I started, that killed me. Because now I never understood why people didn't follow through with what they said they're going to do. It crushed me. It almost knocked me out of the box of me continuing my career with ACN. I couldn't take it in the early days. I couldn't stand it until I figured out that most people are going to operate that way. And I had to learn to deal with it if I was going to build a successful business. And so I adopted the mindset, and I want all of you to take this the right way, but this was the mindset that I adopted. This is what saved me in my ACN career. I found the secret to be able to go through unlimited amounts of people without getting negatively affected mentally by them not following through with what they said they're going to do. How many of you would like to know what that is? This is the mindset that I adopted. Are you ready? Here's the mindset. It's real simple. I adopted the mindset that most people are weird. That was my mindset. Now, I meant that in a very positive way. And I want all of you to know that it's important for you to know this, that I respect every human being that walks the face of the earth. I don't care what they do. I don't care what they believe. I don't care what their skin color is. I don't care what their level of education is. None of that stuff matters to me. It doesn't. It really doesn't. I respect everybody. And the reason why it's easy for me to do that, it's important for you to listen and really understand this. The reason why it's so easy for me to do that is because my life could have gone just as easily the other way as it did the way that it is today. Because I could have quit. I could have been average. I could still be living in the city of Detroit. So it's easy for me to give respect to somebody that's serving me food, because that could have been me. It's easy for me to respect a car salesman, because that could have been me. It's easy. It's easy. It's easy. And so when I say most people are weird, that was a trigger for me to adopt the right mindset, to talk to as many people as I could. Because if I didn't put them in the weird category, it ate my lunch. And when somebody tells me that they're going to be somewhere and didn't show up, it no longer affected my attitude. I just put them in the weird category. And I went through as many of those people as I could until I identified people that were just like us. People that were willing to sacrifice. People that were willing to be on a Zoom call late at night when they could be doing something else. Do you understand? You got to go through a lot of people to find people like us. How many of you would agree with that? How many of you recruited somebody already and they quit? Well, that's not because of you. It's not because of the opportunity. It's because of them. They were short-sighted. You got to put those people into the weird category. Don't allow it to affect your mindset, folks. If it affects your mindset, then you won't adopt the 3 points that I just gave you. You're not going to be grateful to wake up the next day when somebody quits. You know what how I got through it? When somebody quit my business, when I adopted those mindset, oh, I'm grateful that they quit. Now I have more time to spend time with the people that want to win. Or you can get caught up in the fact that you spend so much time with this person and they quit. Whose dream are you going to buy? Whose vision are you going to buy into? So, King, that's what I would encourage the brand new people to understand early on in their career. You can't, listen, you can't avoid what the compensation plan is telling you to do. You can avoid it, but you won't win. You'll be an SVP in 2050. How many of you don't want to wait that long to be an SVP? Then you must talk to people. That means you got to go through a lot of weird people to find people like us. How many of you can make a commitment to getting that job done and in categorizing mentally these people that you are going to attract? Because when you deal with people, you deal with good people, you deal with bad people, you deal with people that lie, you deal with honest people. All you got everybody across the board. You must adopt the right mindset. That one thing alone will allow you to be able to go through as many people as possible, which is the compensation plan is telling you to do. And if you stick around long enough and pay that price, you will in fact win. And that's really the bottom line.
The next question, Greg, I have is, it's like something personal. So there are so many people and this question is for all the successful people. They are on a call right now. Like this is for every successful person. Like right now, success is example for you. Like money is no more a problem for you. And so many times when somebody hit regional vice president or somebody hit senior vice president, they have a cap in their mind, right? So if money is no more a problem for you, what is a real reason that motivate you till today? Like you wake up in the morning, you still do ACN. Like right now it's 10 p.m. in a night, you can say no to us, but you still on with us. What really is your real motivation that push you every day?
Yeah. Um, this is a really important question. And by the way, I had no idea what questions Kang was going to ask me. I told him not to tell me because I would rather just do this, from my heart rather than have anything prepared. If this were about money and money alone, we would have stopped in 1998. And that's the fact. In 1998. But early on, and this is something that you're going to have to adopt as well, because everybody has their own quit level. Everybody has a level of which they say, okay, I've made enough. I'm not going to any longer pay a price, whatever the case may be. You have to make sure early on that ACN, not the company, but your company within a company, ACN within ACN, becomes bigger than you. We made that mindset, we made that decision and adopted that mindset early on, that it wasn't just going to be about us. It was going to be about everybody that we attracted to it. And so from the very beginning, ACN has become bigger than us. And that allows us to wake up every single day to do the things that we do. I mean, I've been doing Zoom calls ever since Zoom was invented, late at night. Why do I continue to do it? Because ACN's bigger than me. ACN's bigger than my comfort. ACN is bigger than just what's best for me and my family. A lot of the ACN leaders have adopted this very same mindset. That's why they continue to do what they continue to do, even after they've won. They've adopted the mindset that we've instilled in them. Otherwise, they would just make whatever they're going to make, satisfy their own desires, and then move on to go do something else. So that's what motivates us. That's why we continue to do what we do for as long as we've been doing it, is that this is much bigger than a personal endeavor for us. See, in the early days of me starting direct sales, it was about me. It was about me getting out of the ghetto of Detroit. It was about me not living a life as an adult the way that I grew up as a kid. Yes, but after that, after you get through that threshold and you start thinking bigger and adopting a bigger mindset, then even greater things happen for you. That's what's happened for me in my life. That's what happened in my career. How does it happen? Here's what I believe here's what I believe to be true. When you show yourself honorable with little, somehow you've adopted a solid foundation to receive much. One of my favorite sayings is this. I haven't said this for years, but I believe this to be true. When you become too big to do the little things, you become too small to receive the big things. Do I have to be on the Zoom call? No. The reason why we continue to do it is because we never lose sight of the little things. Because the very moment you do, the big things stop. Some people believe, Kang, that the higher in leadership you go, the more latitude that you have for your life because you have more choices at your disposal. But the reality is, the higher you go in leadership, the more responsibility you have, the less latitude you have for your life. And here's the reason why. The higher you go in leadership, the more people that are looking at you, and they're not only looking at you, they're listening to every word that you say. And then after they've listened to every word that you say, they're looking at the life that you have to either back up the words that you say or to refute the words that you say. If your life doesn't line up with your words, your leadership is short-lived. If your life lines up with your words, you will attract tens of thousands of people because that's what people are looking for in a leader. That's what you have done, Kang. That's what some of the leaders on this call have done. That's what everybody on this call aspires to do, is to lead a large group of people. There's a responsibility that comes along with it. That's why ACN has to become bigger than you. It's important. It's an important distinction. That's what separates us from everybody else. It's an amazing thing when you realize what has happened.
The next question I have, Greg, for you is it's on the same topic that we just talked about. And as I told before, again, like it's personal now. So as right now you don't have to do ACN, but you still do ACN. So there's a level that you already reach. There's something called personal life, there's something called business life. Like what kind of investment are you still giving to ACN as a time wise to have family life, business life, making it separate? Because so many times I feel myself that I should give more time to family, more time to business. Like how do you really define like what, where is like an exact thing that you say? Like what kind of investment are you giving right now to ACN?
Yeah, ACN is ACN is really, really, really important to me. Not just because of the financial rewards, it has just become very important. But those of you that know me, you already know this to be true, that as important as ACN is, it doesn't happen to be the most important thing in my life. It just isn't. Um, I have I have a very, very strong faith in Jesus Christ, um, and you asked me, so I got to tell you, that's very important to me. My family is very important to me. I have do you believe I have 7 grandkids now? I have 7 grandkids. I'm 65 years old. It's amazing to think about what has happened. And so I invest a lot of time into all the areas that are important to me. What did I tell you earlier on in the call? That you always find a way to get things done that you want to get done. Remember I said that? That you prioritize everything that you want to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it, right? That's a fact with anything. So ACN is a priority. My family is a priority. My spiritual life is a priority. That means I make time for all 3 of those things. My social life is a priority. I golf once a week. That's a priority, right? All those things just happen. And those of you that have young kids and you're building a family, listen, when we started ACN in 1993, my daughter Autumn was 5 years old. Manny was 4 and Marina was 2. I know what it's like to build a business and to have a family. There were many times where I was at one of my kids' soccer games and I was on my headset doing a 3-way call with somebody. Many years. And I remember distinctly, here's what I used to tell people all the time. I used to tell, if I was doing a 3-way call, here's what I would tell the person on the other end of the line. I would say, listen, I appreciate you taking the time to be on this call, but I want you to know I'm at my son's soccer game right now. So if you hear some background noise, I apologize. If you hear me scream or yell, that means he did something good. But I promise you, we're going to get the job done. I'm going to tell you about ACN because I'm going to tell you about something that's spectacular right now. I can't tell you how many calls I did. Just like that. Now listen, we built a successful company. I have a successful family. Listen, all 3 of my kids, they're all grown. They're all great adults. They're all married to beautiful people. They bless Sherry and I. Sherry and I have been married for 44 years. 45, we met in high school, man. We have 7 grandkids from our 3 children. There's no amount of money that you could pay Greg Provenzano to replace that. They all live locally. We see them often. We have Sunday dinner together. I live an amazing life. And it isn't because we didn't sacrifice, Kang. There was a lot of sacrifice. There was a lot of hard work. There was a lot of 3-way calls at soccer games. You're going to wonder, each of you are going to wonder whether or not you're a good enough husband, a good enough wife, a good enough mom, a good enough dad, a good enough friend, a good enough leader, a good enough coach, a good enough presenter. You're always going to ask those questions because you care about all those areas. Those are all healthy questions that you should be asking yourselves every single day. And when you ask yourself those questions, really think about the answers that you get. because that's the area that you need to spend more time in. It's an interesting dynamic, but I'm telling you, it always works out. Listen, some of you are going to miss some of your kids' games because you're building ACN. Can I tell you something? Your kids are more resilient than you think they are. Just make sure, listen very closely, just make sure that they know that ACN is not important, more important than they are. You're going to miss some things, but they should know that what you do is not more important than who they are to you. It's an important distinction. I made sure of that early on.
I know, Greg, it's so late, but we have only one last question before we wrap up the call. And the question is like, where ACN was, where ACN is. What do you think as a company point of view, like your target that ACN should be in next 5 years, in next 10 years? Because so many people right now on a call, ACN is their only bread and butter, and ACN is their life, ACN is their everything.
Yeah.
Like we always say that take out everything out, burn all the bridges, be give your 100%. So what is your vision about ACN if we see as our future in ACN?
Yeah. I see nothing but greatness for ACN, whether it be Canada or the US. And just so all of you know, um, every decision that we made and continue to make is for the longevity of the opportunity. Sometimes we had to make some very difficult decisions, and we continue to make those decisions. But we always want to make sure that we have ACN in good hands, that the opportunity is ongoing, that you will get rewarded for the price that you pay. And so as we continue to build, as we continue to grow, I envision ACN in North America total to be $1 billion company someday as we expand our service offerings, as we expand our marketing presence, as we continue to acquire customers and build upon the customer base that we currently have. I envision that. And as you build your company within a company, you will get the rewards for that type of growth that the company experiences because, as I said, we're all on the same page. The only way the company grows is if you grow. The only way the company wins is if you win. The only way the company makes money is if you generate revenue, which generates residual income for you and your family. That's just the way the whole thing works. And so we will continue to foster relationships. We will continue to make tough decisions when decisions need to be made for the longevity of the ACN opportunity, wherever it may be, because we want to make sure that we continue to foster the right environment for you to win for you and your family, if in fact you're willing to pay the necessary price. It all boils down to that last statement. Are you willing to pay the necessary price? ACN can be great. We can be $1 billion company, but what does that mean for you? That means nothing unless you go out and do something. Right now, you have, 28 more days until the end of the year. What are you going to do for the next 28 days? I know we're going to celebrate Christmas. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to spend it with my grandkids, my kids. We're going to have a big time. It's going to be fun, but it's not going to be all month. We got a business to build. We got people to talk to. I would encourage you to do the same. I want you to enjoy yourself. But at the same time, you should be building a business. Position yourself for greatness in the first quarter of 2026. Now's the time to do it. That's why I wanted to get on this call with you early on in the month of December so that you can prepare and put things in motion now to have a great first quarter for next year.